Well, why don't I begin from the beginning then? So, welcome everybody. My name is Jay, and I'll be one of the instructors along with my partners in crime, Francis Reyes and Art Salyer, for the INNOVAR program. And this is an orientation. And the purpose of the orientation is, first of all, to figure out why we're all here. And so you should know that you are the select many. We have never had such a tremendous response to this offering of INNOVAR, the regional I-Corps program. And those of us who were working to read all of your applications, first of all, we were blown away by the quality of the ideas that are here. So you all should clap or give yourselves a round of applause or pat yourselves on the back for being aspiring innovators and for taking the time to dedicate some time out of your busy lives for doing something that, could be really important, not only to you, but to others in the community and in the world. So why we are here is we have an opportunity to do entrepreneurial or experiential entrepreneurship. That is, this is not a butts in seats class. This is going to be a class where you take your idea and you work it to see who cares, who really cares. And you do that by, so we do that by interviewing stakeholders and customers. We have mentorship designed so that each team has its own mentor working with it by having in-class presentations where you um, expound on what you learned through the interview process. And you have a project management tool called Basecamp, which you will all have access to very shortly. And that is our main communication tool. You will have your team will have its own project, and then we will have one for the entire class. So that's how we stay in touch with each other. The most important thing you're going to do in the beginning of this class is to figure out uh, this worksheet number one, which is your assignment between now and next week. And that assignment is basically you determining uh, who has the problem or where the opportunity is for your solution. And finally, you'll get to hear from our mentors. So the most important thing is that this is really a stellar group of participants. And I've done a lot of these classes over the years. I think I can't keep track of how many it was, but it's certainly a couple of dozen at least. And so we really look for creative ideas and people who are motivated. And so I want to, again, thank you all for being here and giving us this opportunity to help you. Secondly, as you learn in life, or you've already learned, you make your own opportunities. Is this a good time and a good venue for learning about entrepreneurship? And each team has to answer that for itself. But in my opinion, there has never been a better point in time where there's going to be so much rapid change than what we can expect over the next uh, few years, the next decade or so, with the advent and finally the launching of all things AI as probably leading that, but also as population grows with uh, political and social systems in rapid change, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for people who are able to seize upon them. So when you are working right now on a new idea, on a possible startup, or even within a company, you're going to be able to make an impact, an impact on society and impact on the economy. And hopefully, at the same time, you're going to become wealthy. This is the ideal thing is to come up with something that is needed, that you enjoy doing, that you're good at, and that makes money. And that's sort of the holy grail and what we're hoping that you can be working on for us. And this is an educational moment. You're going to be learning by doing. So if you thought you would sit here, you will, but when we're done, you're going to go out and start doing the work. So I want to just invite all of you to enjoy the moment and seize the moment and be able to go out and really prove what you've got. Art Salyer has been one of our key contributors as our main instructor, one of our main instructors, and he's going to take us to talk a little bit about some more of the program. Art? Hello, Art.
Good to be here again. Um, my background, I've been a mentor and an EIR at the university for a few years now. I do that part-time, and the rest of my time I work with a group of venture capitalists that we invest in AI, med tech, ag tech, and entertainment. My background is in renewable energy and entertainment, which you can see in the background. So next one. Um, Keep in mind that you've enrolled in a class, and it's really important to understand we're trying to teach you some really important things that are proven techniques for successful startups. These have been validated over and over and over again that startups that use these techniques and use this will be more successful than the ones that don't. And most of the ones that don't have forgotten some of these techniques. So that's what we're going to teach you here. We're interested in your technology, but we're more interested in you understanding these techniques and these processes that have been proven over and over again to be successful. We're interested to use your technology or your idea to understand customer and business model validation. We're going to spend a lot of time on not really hearing too much about why you think your invention or your technology is great. We're more interested in how do you know there's a customer out there willing to pay for it? And do they have a problem that your technology will solve? So we're going to spend very little time talking about your technology. And that's going to be the most difficult part of this class because you're all really smart people. You all have really great ideas. We're trying to teach you how to turn those great ideas into commercial ventures. And we're going to teach you how to do that. Um, we're going to talk a lot about market validation. And Jay, whoever's moving the arrow, could you stop that? I don't know who's doing that, but um,
Probably me.
yeah, we're gonna just put it somewhere and leave it, please.
Okay.
Thank you. We're going to talk about several different parts of developing a business for commercialization. The first, and again, I'll go over and over again, customer and business model validation. We're going to talk about market validation, and we're going to force you to go out in the marketplace, talk to customers, and find out, do they have a problem that your product will solve? We're also going to talk to you a lot about competitive advantage. What is your secret sauce? And how do you define secret sauce? And what are things that are important about competitive advantage? We're going to teach a little bit about roadmap to commercialization. We're not going to be able to put together a business plan for you, but we're going to give you all of the components that go into a business plan and give you an outline, as well as give you a chance to think a little bit about the resources and the team that you need. So we're going to give you all the groundwork that you need to start a business and raise money. Every single slide that you see in this program are slides that people like me, venture capitalists or investor angels, or anybody that puts money in businesses are looking for. Every single one. And if they're not there, we tend to discount the project. Okay, next one. Next slide, Jay.
Well, got to move that arrow again. Here we are.
Yeah. Um, as Jay indicated, we're interested in you getting out of the classroom and getting with customers. And we're going to push you really, really hard um, to go do real customer interviews. We're going to teach you how to interview customers and stakeholders. Um, we're going to develop a hypothesis on what you think your value proposition is. And we're going to spend a lot of time with your mentor on fine tuning that value proposition and that product market fit. And then we're going to send you out and have you test that over and over and over again until you've validated it or you've not validated it. You're going to have a dedicated mentor, a person like me, who's going to work with you every single week in this course. They're going to talk to you about all the components. If you get confused, if you don't understand it, they're going to help you to understand what you learn by the reading material and what you learn in class, but they're there to help you to really understand it and internalize it. They're also pretty tough too, because they want to see real customer discovery. They want to see real customer interviews, real insights. Um, and they're going to want to make sure that the slides that you present, because you're going to get to present every single week what you've learned and what you've created, and they want to see that those slides are complete and on time and in the format that we've asked for. And if you're unable to do that, we're going to stop, because we're not going to waste other people's time if you're unable to do that. Um, so dedicated mentors, we're going to help you to create a roadmap, the commercialization. We're not going to have that roadmap completely put together in this course. It'd be ridiculous. There's a lot more work to do. Some of you have already started it. Some of you have already done a lot of work. So we'll be further along, but we'll give you all that you need to put together a roadmap to commercialization and how to take it from here. And at the end of the course, we're going to give you all kinds of information about other programs and resources at the university and in the community that you can draw on if you choose to move forward. And usually we have three different routes at the end. Route one, hey, we're excited about this. We're even more excited about this. We've really validated our customer value. We're ready to go ahead. Two, we thought we were going this way. We still think, but we think we should be going this way. We call that a pivot. And that's okay too. Usually we thought this was a consumer business, and it's really a business to business. That's what you're going to learn by some of these interviews. And the third one is that, you know what? We thought this was a great idea, but it really isn't commercial. And we love those too, because we like to fail fast in our business. Keep in mind that 75% of the companies that I invest in as a venture capital fail completely. The money never makes any money. So we're really interested in giving you techniques so you don't go mortgage your house, spend your parents' money, get your friends' money, and fail. We want you to fail before you get too deep into this. So the no answer is cool too if you get through that. Next one. Next slide. So a lot of you are scientists. You'll see this really, really simple as a scientific method. We're going to start at the really top of the page, and we're going to develop the hypothesis. We're going to say, this is the value proposition that we bring to the customer. We believe that our customers want this, and we believe that they will love this solution to problems we think they have. That's the top of it. Then, based on that, we're going to develop a whole bunch of interview questions to do deep dives to customers. We're never going to talk about your technology with these customers, and we're going to try to keep you from talking about technology. These are not sales calls. These are customer discovery calls. We're trying to understand what the customer problem is and whether it matches up with our solution. So if you're talking about your technology in these customer interviews, you're not doing it right. And your mentor can help you that. So we're going to develop those questions that dig down to validate that first hypothesis. We're going to go to customer interviews. Then we're going to identify very specifically every single week, what were the lessons learned? What did we learn from this interview? And then we're going to develop insights. And the insights, okay, what are we going to change? We learned this, so we need to shift, or we need to dig deeper, or we need to find out more about that because we've learned something from our interviews, and then we're going to adjust our value proposition. We're going to adjust our hypothesis and keep doing it over and over and over again. So by the end of the course, you should have this hypothesis really well validated, and it should be validated by real customers, real partners, to move forward. Jake? So what we want you to take away from this, what you should expect to take away from this course, and again, this is a course. We're teaching you skills, confirmation of the customer, that you really do have a customer that you believe through real interviews validate your technology or your solution or your business, that they have problems that you can solve, that they're very excited about. And if it's not this customer you went into the course with, maybe it's an alternate customer to explore. You're going to get mentorship, and these mentors, all of us are available. So if you hear a mentor that has a little bit more background in your area and you want to talk to them, you can talk to any one of our mentors, and they all have different skill sets. They all have different ways of doing things. So you can always talk to them. But at the end of this course, you'll keep your mentor. So as you move your business forward, that person is available through the programs of the university to help you move your business forward if you choose to do that. You're going to get these business skills. So if this idea isn't the one you want to pursue, these are exactly the same skills for any idea or any business that you choose to join. You're going to get a much expanded network. You're going to meet all these people that are all doing the same thing as you are, and mentors and all of that. Um, you're going to learn how to get access to funding, and we'll learn a little bit more about what do venture capital guys like me look for? What are the different ways to do non-diluted funding, grants, etc., government money, all of that, and we're going to learn a bit about that. And you will, at the end of this course, have a basic slide deck to start building your investor pitch. Every page, as I said earlier, every page that you're going to prepare in this course is a page that an investor like me or any other investor is probably going to want. They're pretty standard. And you're going to learn what we look for in these, because a lot of these mentors are investors or have started up businesses, and they all understand. They've all been down this road before multiple times. And then you'll get the basics for designing a business model for going forward, a business plan going forward. Again, you will not have this complete. There's not enough time to do a complete slide deck, a pitch deck, but you'll have all the components, and you'll be much better at presenting your idea because you're going to present it every single week. You're going to present part of it, present what you learned. You're going to be challenged by feedback and questions every single week. So by the end of this course, you're going to have a lot of experience talking to people that are interested in new businesses. And I think this is you, Jay.
This is me. So first of all, I can't see what's in the chat. Uh, Francis, are there any questions in the chat or is it empty?
No question in the chat.
Okay, then I'm just going to keep plowing
Yeah.
away. So this is the workshop schedule. And so we're at the week 0 now. This is just going over what you're going to be doing. Well, let's see what we got here. The question was, is this being recorded? Francis, are we recording this? I think we are.
Yes, we are recording. So this is the perfect time for me to tell you that all the recordings are going to be posted in Basecamp, okay? So you will see over there, we'll say recording sessions. So I will date them so you can go and revisit them at your own time.
Thank you, Francis. Um, so this is the workshop schedule. It's Tuesdays at 5. Uh, And usually it's going to be a full 2 hours. Sometimes it might go a little bit over. Tonight's probably going to go a little bit under. Well, I shouldn't say that because we haven't answered all your questions yet. And in Basecamp, which you will be joining as soon as tomorrow, you will see that there are some videos to watch, some articles to read, and a work product, a written work product that's going to be due a week from today. And in Basecamp, it's called Worksheet number 1. And so what you're going to be reading is about customer discovery, which is what Art was talking about that we do. You're going to be watching videos on how to create a business model canvas, and that's the business model that we do. Ironically, it's going to be less than a page, as opposed to at a business school, you could end up creating a multiple 100-page document on your business plan. But here it's very short and sweet, and it's meant to be malleable. It's meant to be updated and changed every time you get new information from your interviews. And then your written assignment will be worksheet number 1. And that is sort of like a cheat sheet or a shortcut for helping you identify your customer segment, the values or value propositions that your product has for the customer, your business thesis, which is what do you do, who do you do it for, and why do they care? And uh, we haven't yet assigned mentors. Part of the issue is we had a deadline of Friday, and today is Tuesday, and so we spent Monday uh, identifying which of you are going to be accepted. And so tomorrow we'll assign you mentors, and then we'll be talking a lot about how you reach out to them. But each of you will be meeting with your mentor between now and a week from now, just to introduce yourselves and also to go over completing the first assignment and have them review it. So ideally, you will have an approved assignment for next week. It's fairly easy to do. No, I shouldn't say fairly easy to do. It's going to be your biggest challenge actually of the workshop, because if you don't do it right, then you sort of you need to get it right. Let's put it that way. So the first 3 classes are learning about customers, value propositions, and the product market fit, which is, do you have a product that the customers value? Is it in a market? Is it how big is the market? What is the market? And who else is in this market? Who is your competition? And you'll be creating a competitive matrix. So what is missing in this discussion of the first 3 parts? I'll even ask a mentor to chip in. What is not discussed at all in the first half of this workshop?
Technology.
That's the answer. So this is not a class that's going to advance your technology. I don't want to say we don't care about your technology, because actually one of the criteria for acceptance was that you had a great idea, and a lot of those are technology. But this class, its purpose is business, it's commercialization, it's marketing, or is there a market? So that's, I want you to notice that. In the second half, there's a little bit more about business, still not too much about technology, except uh, a lot of the participants in this class haven't fully developed their technology, and it will cost money. So you can't do a real uh, business plan or even commercialize without getting that funding. And so that will be part of the equation is, you need money for the technology. But, and then at the end, and we decided to end it the week before Thanksgiving. So that's kind of a condensed version of things. Uh, you will each give a final presentation that's probably going to be about 5 minutes long and contain the slides that we covered. Each of these numbers has a slide, plus there's a couple of slides that are developed in worksheet number 1. So you'll have 8 or 9 slides to present. And from that, I don't have the final figures yet, but we are hoping to have some uh, award money for people who do the best and learn the most. So this is our week by week progress. Each week you're going to have a slide to do, a mentor meeting, some readings, and most of all, customer discovery interviews. Any questions on that before we I can't see again if there's anything in chat, but I've
Well,
got another
Steve,
topic.
I'm gonna put Steve Sharp in the on the spot. So if you don't mind elaborating what you wrote in the chat.
Yeah, one of the,
Introduce yourself first.
sorry, I couldn't hear
Introduce
the last part.
yourself first.
Say that again, sorry.
Introduce yourself.
Okay, sure. I'm Steve Sharp. I've been a mentor, I think I'm in my 8th year, and been involved with INNOVAR each of those years that I've been working with UC Riverside. I've worked both with local teams as well as national I-Core process. Growing up in manufacturing business is my functional pedigrees in marketing and operations. The point was trying to make was lots of teams try to jump to solutions before they understand what the problem is. And the most important, other than the process itself, which is, as Art pointed out earlier, is the most important takeaway from all of this. I think Jay reinforced the same. The second most important thing you can learn is what's the problem? And is there a problem? And how big is it? What does it look like? What does it cost? And I think lots of teams get so caught up in their technology, they rush ahead before they really step back and say, what problem am I really solving? And is the problem really have is the problem painful enough that I or anybody else can make money trying to solve it? And hopefully, as you go through the interviewing process and interview teams and interview customers and prospects, that's what you'll be able to begin finding out. Is there a problem? What is it? And what are its dimensions? How much pain does it cost? And who feels the pain? Those are the things I think teams often overlook and get rushing toward solutions before they understand the problems. And so a lot of the market discovery process is really trying to understand the problem and its dimensions.
Thank you, Steve. Any other comments before I go back to screen sharing? I want us to at least see each other for a minute. I see a lot of familiar faces, and I see some people who are having their cameras off, and we prefer to keep your cameras on when possible. I guess it doesn't matter now if I'm in presentation mode, but during the class, we like that. Okay, let me get back to my slides then. How to work with a mentor. Everyone's going to be working with a mentor. The first step is how do you get a hold of your mentor? Well, I'm going to identify, not right this moment, but a mentor and give you that information. I'll put it into your Basecamp folder. I think just to help get everyone started, I'm also going to use email. So you can't say, well, I didn't understand Basecamp. So we'll provide you a mentor, and then we would like you to reach out to the mentor. In the very first time, it's okay, if Steve or one of the other mentors reaches out to you, but we don't want to set the precedent of mentors chasing teams because that's not a good use of their time, and they actually don't have that time. So you'll be meeting with them on Zoom in 99.9% of the occurrences, not in person. And it's often best and easiest if you pick a regular time, same time every week to do it. And that would be great. You're going to be putting information into Basecamp also every week. So let's say you have a slide presentation to make and you've added a new slide. Then, do you put it in before you meet the mentor or after you meet the mentor? And the answer is both. So you can put it in there so that they can review it before you meet with them. And then you're probably going to revise it or update it a little bit. And so you'll put it in again after you meet. Mentors do prefer to have some notice. So let's say it's 5:30 on Tuesday. That's too late to be reaching out to your mentor for a 5 o'clock class. So try to meet with them uh, uh, this week. Maybe you schedule to meet with them on Monday next week. What are you going to talk about with your mentor? Well, actually, you can talk about anything you want to talk about as long as it fits into the time frame. Some mentors are going to give you business advice you didn't know you needed, and other times you're going to say, "I just need to make sure I'm getting everything right in this class because the class has some very specific requirements, and we don't like it when teams rearrange the order or insert slides that aren't asked for, or otherwise go what we consider to be off brand. So it's best to understand exactly what it is you're looking for from the mentor, have your questions ready, and figure out what you want to learn. Without any specialization, they're going to review your interviews for the past week. They're going to look at your new slides, and they're going to give feedback from what they heard from the prior class. Well, that won't happen this week because you haven't made a presentation from which they can make comments. But normally, when you're giving a presentation, and every week you will be giving a presentation, your mentor will be listening to what you say and listening to what the mentors have to say about you and providing you some positive feedback. And so things that you can incorporate that the other mentors have suggested to improve your slide and your knowledge. So that's what the typical agenda is. And we're going to be very positive. All of you are, you've got new ideas, not necessarily, set in stone. And with the information you're going to be gathering from interviews, you're going to be changing a lot over the course of the next 6 weeks. And so we take that into consideration. We're not looking at what you don't know. We're just focusing on what you're learning, what's new, and how we can help. So typically, this is what's going to happen is you're going to follow the program requirements. But I'm telling you that all these mentors have loads of business experience working with startups, working with teams in this program, and so can give you interesting information that you might not get elsewhere. So take advantage of that in the time that's permitted. So here's the details. This is an opportunity when you're meeting with your mentor to practice your pitch for the class. Make sure you have everything in order. When you're presenting in class, the mentors are not going to say, hey, you put your business model canvas somewhere where it doesn't belong. That's not a good use of our time. So we're just going to comment on the content of your business model canvas, not on the fact that you had it backwards or upside down or in the wrong place. That's for your mentor to help you get things done in the right place. And what I've noticed over time, and other mentors would back me up, is that you do 3 or 4 or 5 interviews, you're going to get a lot of information, a ton of information. Imagine you've got an hour to 2 to 3 hours worth of conversation going with the interviewee. And you have to present everything, including interviews, in 3 minutes. So how are you going to do that? Good question. Well, first of all, you have to learn to be concise and stay on topic. And secondly, you can't. There's no way you're going to be able to translate or distill, hours worth of information. And it's going to be more and more hours every week, but your time limit remains 3 minutes. So there's just no way. So what we suggest is use big fonts and focus on maybe 1 point per slide, maybe 2 points. But the idea of using 8 point font and writing down everything that someone said, not only is it not going to fit still, but it doesn't make for a very good presentation because we're going to spend too much time looking at the small print and not enough time looking at you. So really, uh, you think it's no time at all, but investors, they can distill what you're doing down to, a matter of seconds. Sometimes by the time you're done with your first paragraph, they've already made up their mind about whether you have something that has legs or not. So it's a good skill to acquire, how to be precise, concise, distill, make it legible. What we are going to like listening to is the same thing you're going to like watching and listening to, which is someone talking about what they learned, about what's interesting about what they learned, not the name, rank, and serial number of every person you met and every question you asked. Just, what pops up as interesting? What is something that's a learning? So one of the key things we talk about are uh, um, you're doing an experiment. And so to set up the experiment, which is the worksheet that you were doing, worksheet number one, we're going to hypothesize here's what's going to happen. So it's very important. If you don't have the right hypotheses or it's too simple or not challenging enough, you're not going to learn very much. So challenge yourself to come up with an interesting hypothesis to test about whether your idea is solving a problem in the marketplace or providing an opportunity for something new in the marketplace. And think about in advance what the possible answers are going to be. So these are your hypotheses. You hypothesize they're going to say this and they're not going to say that. And then when you do the interview, do they say this or they say that or they say something else altogether differently? And so what they end up telling you in answer to your questions, and you're going to have a list of prepared questions to ask them. Uh, uh, what they answer is what we would call the lessons learned. And not everyone's going to answer the same thing. So you'll have a bunch of different kinds of answers. And then you take those answers and you try to figure out, well, uh, how does that impact the customer's decision to buy or not buy? Um, or does it? And so that's the insight. The insight is not necessarily what they said, but how it impacts your ability to um, have a product that is desirable or something that they would like to learn more about. You can do a whole interview with a customer and never talk about your product at all. In fact, we recommend it. We recommend you find out more about the customer than they find out about you. And that might sound surprising, but again, we're not selling, we're gathering information. Ask yourself this: if you went on an interview with a customer, a potential customer, and you're trying to sell them something, what is their attitude going to be towards you? Versus if you go to that customer asking for their advice on what sorts of problems they have and how are they best solved. And I can't see enough heads nodding one way or another, but I hope you recognize that asking it the first way, which is a forward towards a sales type pitch, is going to put the interviewee on the defensive because they think you want something from them that they don't want to do, which is spend money. And asking them the second way is going to be, they value my opinion. I'm going to offer them my opinion. And, I like this. I like people talking about me and my problems. So that's what you'll find. You'll find out either easy way or the hard way. The easy way is to listen to us and just, don't get into a selling mode. Just, you can always come back later when you have a product to sell. Often, many of you don't have anything to sell right now, anyhow. Do you want to talk about your product and what it does? Not necessarily. I would say it's totally okay to never bring it up, or you could come back a second time after this class and do it. Or if it's the sort of thing where they're curious what you're doing after the interview's over, it's okay. But don't take the bait. Don't take the bait when you're doing the customer discovery. Don't allow them to switch the subject and talk about yourself. That's the oldest trick in the book, and I don't want you to fall victim to it because pretty soon they're going to get defensive and want you out of their office. They'll be looking at their smartwatch and or checking their email or something. So here's what the mentors are good for. And right now, these are just items on a list, but you're going to quickly learn that there are some very important things. First of all, you're going to be having 20 interviews over the next 7 weeks. And many of you don't yet know who those 20 people are going to be. So the time to start thinking about that is now, certainly after class. and you can work with your mentor to help figure that out. Not only getting the interviews, but where do you even start? And so if your customer segment is a business, you can start getting uh, find out who that person is in the business. You can use things like LinkedIn and their website to try to start getting names. Um, but you want to start getting interviews, and then also you're going to be figuring out what you're going to be asking them. So the data you get is going to be based on the questions you ask. So you want to be sure to ask insightful questions when you're doing the interviewing. And the interviewing are all based on trying to figure out what the customer's problem is. And if you have a product, a service, a technology, a solution, an app, a whatever that is related to their problem as they see it. And it doesn't need to be everybody. Some people are going to not have the problem as you hypothesize, and that's okay. You don't have to give them a full interview if you're 90% sure. You can ask them who else might have the issue at that company. But you want to make sure you're learning something that's meaningful to you to help advance your business. When investors come in to look at a business, and I'm not saying you're looking for an investor, but one of the first things they ask is, how risky is my investment? Because they don't want to lose all their money. And so the best way of having them be interested is to prove to them that you've de-risked your ask. That is, that they invest in you, they're likely to make money. That's why they're investors. They're not investors to lose money or to fund a money losing operation from you. And so, besides being trustworthy and smart and hardworking and all the rest, you've got to present to them that it's not a big risk. And actually, the person who's taking the biggest risk is you, because you're the entrepreneur. You're going to be working really hard on your idea. And, why fool yourself by not asking the tough questions? Staying on track is something that mentors can help you with both in the interview and in general. Sometimes when people want to talk about themselves, which is what you're going to be doing, they get off track and you're going to find yourself down a lane you don't want to be on. And so the uh, the interview articles you'll be reading give you some tips on how to bring the conversation back to what you want to talk about without ticking off the person. And the same thing with how to delicately end an interview. When you realize you're in the wrong room with the wrong person, you don't necessarily need to spend the entire time that's been allotted. Time is your enemy. We have to get this program done quickly, and you don't want to be spending time talking to the wrong person once you've identified that. Mentors are also going to be helpful in terms of getting referrals, and this is going to be your lifesaver. You'll figure it out yourself as well. If you have a good interview, who else would benefit from what it is that you're doing? Who else might have this problem, or who else might be interested in the opportunity that you're presenting? And if you do it right, your cold calling will end after the first batch because you'll just go straight from referrals from that point on. That's how important referrals are. And that, for those of you who want to go for the entire course, is going to be very useful. Because if you have to make 100 contacts to get one interview, that's a big slog. You know, you want it to be a much higher batting average, 5 to 1 or 10 to 1, or maybe even 1 to 1 if someone is referring you to someone else and you can say, well, Steve Sharp told me I should contact you because you're someone who knows something about this space and I was looking for advice. And the mentors will help you with analyzing the interview information and to putting it into the kind of format that we like. And then on the other side of the slide, you can see specific issues. So if you have a slide, excuse me, and the slide just doesn't look right to the mentor, they'll speak up and they'll say, why don't you just, move the arrow from going this way to going that way, and then it all makes more sense. So mentors can help with items both big and small. Next, I can't see if there's any questions in chat. Does anyone, just raise your hand if you have any questions in chat before I move on away from working with a mentor. Someone put something in, I just can't see it.
Daniel has a question for you.
Thank you.
I could ask if you want.
Sure.
Let's say that this weekend I interview some people, and let's say that we have identified my mentor. Would it be useful for me to have a Word document and or do you think that would be just a waste? Like we don't even need to work that hard. I mean, not work that hard, but not put too much time on like the small details like those, or do you think it's
What
important?
you're asking is how do you keep track of the information from an interview?
No, I'm asking if, well, I guess the question I could ask it in a different way. Um, I have identified some people that I'm gonna interview this weekend, um, but one of my challenges is that thing you mentioned earlier, where we start diverging the conversation from. Um, I guess I want some advice on how to fine tune these interviews in such a way that I won't lose their attention, because uh, I fall into the trap of into when I ran out of something to say about whatever it is that I'm trying to like talk about. Sometimes I by default I direct the conversation in a way where it will be very hard for the and I don't know how to mm, word it exactly, but
Let me try to answer it, and then I'm going to turn it over to Doug. So every team is going to be new at doing this, and is not going to be necessarily great at doing it in the beginning, and will make mistakes and will be inefficient, and that's okay. This is practice. The whole class is practice. We're doing it now in a class setting, a workshop setting, so it doesn't matter if you ask the wrong question, or you go off on a tangent, or you don't remember everything they said, or you forgot to write it down. You just learn from practice. And so we do have you're going to learn how to control a conversation better at the end than you're going to be at the beginning. That's one of the skills you're going to get that you can keep for a lifetime, and it's going to be very useful. And then the other thing is we do have within Basecamp these templates that you can fill out that put in some information from your interview. So you record those things after you meet with them. Spend 10 minutes just entering some of the stuff in, the highlights, to, so that you don't forget. Because if you do 20 interviews, you're not going to remember all the details of all of them. So uh, yeah, that's what I would do is bring it up with your mentor and say, I met with this person, they said this, I met with that person, they said that. And it could be I met with another person and they didn't really have anything important to say at all. But that's okay. You still asked the questions and found out the answers were not relevant to what you're doing. And not all interviewees are going to have relevant information for you. Yes, Doug.
So Daniel, part of the
thank
first meeting with your mentor includes an opportunity to develop open-ended questions that you can use in your interviews so that you don't get lost. You'll have some prepared questions, if that helps.
that'd be really helpful.
So that's worksheet number one, is come up with what you want to be asking, so you don't walk in blind. And still on Basecamp though, there's the projects, which is the number one you should already, I think, either have or about to have, which is an invitation to join Basecamp. And that's where we post all the assignments for the entire program. They're already there. And you can cheat and go ahead and do them all this week, or you can do them one per week as is the assignment. It's not cheating, it's getting ahead of the game. And so then each of you will have your own specific project. So your team has its own project, and that's where you're going to put your interview data and your slides, and your mentor will have access to that. So everybody has access to the one project, which is the course project, and then only you have access, you and your team and your mentor has access to the specific project. So one's going to have 50 or 100 people on it, and the other's only going to have, maybe 5 or 10 people on it. And we ask that you think twice before you post something on Basecamp as to whether you're putting it into the right or correct folder. And it doesn't mean anything right now because you haven't seen either of them, but uh, you don't want to get uh, 50 different messages from all different people about something that's only of use to them. And so we just ask that you think twice before you load it up so it goes into the right place. So here's an example of what Basecamp is going to look like in that center. So you'll have access to your own blank interview reports, which you can fill out, and you're going to be making presentations, and you drop them into these folders. The folder is called Docs and Files for you. And then you can see we're recommending you put it in Friday prior to class. Uh, Thanks to the fact that everything's on Zoom now, you can actually make updates up until class time. But you will need to have your mentor approve your slide deck before you present. That means you've met with your mentor and they find it acceptable. So your typical week will have the following things. You're going to do interviews. You're going to be doing the homework. You're going to meet with your mentor. So this upcoming week, you're going to learn how to use Basecamp. You're going to have more reading than you will at any other time. I don't think there's any other reading other than the week prior to class. And there's a couple of videos. Usually we have a video, but before the first class, there's going to be a couple of videos on business model canvas and reading on customer discovery. And this week, you're also going to create worksheet number 1, which is in your docs and files and will be put into your presentation folder. And ideally, you'll get a chance to meet with your mentor before the 14th as well. That's the goal. Normally, you would have the name of your mentor by now. And so we'll try to get it to you as soon as possible. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Steve, did you want to mention something about having a script, or did you already say that?
I put it into chat. I can elaborate if need be, but
Elaborate.
well, yeah, you need to have a script. I mean, but again, don't be the script helps guide you. But again, if you get a client that sometimes it's some of the most important things you learn are things you don't expect. The key is to walk in the shoes of the customer and find out what problems they have and what challenges they face in their everyday role, especially those that are relevant to what you're envisioning. And so the script, the interview script will get you toward that. And in so doing, you want to make sure you never let them know what you have in mind. You want to hear what they care about, what problems they have. And then you shape your solution towards solving their problems or to fine tune your solution accordingly. But having it, you need to have an interview script of some sort, and you need to document your findings. Because if you don't, if you go back in 3 weeks and you look back at, what things you heard in week 2, you won't be able to make any sense out of it or remember it if you don't have it captured somewhere. Nor will your mentor be able to give you good input, help you interpret what you heard, and help translate that into your forming as you continue to evolve your hypothesis or your informed opinions, and as you work toward refining your solution and what your strategy is. The richest part of the process is sharing what you heard with your mentor and talking that through with them. So you need to document what you've heard.
Okay, Francis?
So, with your permission, can I just go very quickly over Basecamp and then I'll pass it to you?
Oh, that would be awesome.
Okay,
Jack?
so, oh, okay, so before we move forward, do me a favor. If you haven't received an invitation from me to join Basecamp, put your name and your email address in the chat, and I will do that tonight. Okay, so if you are not familiar with Basecamp, you're in luck because I'll guide you through it. Super simple and very easy to use. Jay already told you a little bit about Basecamp. You're going to get two of these invitations. One is the general one, the one that I'm sharing with you. It is called 2025 Fall INNOVAR Entrepreneurship Program. As you can see here on the top, all of us are going to be part of it. This has several sections, but today I want to talk specifically about this one that it calls docs and files. Documents and files is where you're going to find the archive of everything that we're going to do. Tomorrow, you're going to see the recording in this one where this says homework videos and reading materials. I'm going to put some of the videos in here. Even I'm going to put all the videos in one section or the other. Please make a note that you need to revisit this one that is called prerequisites this week. Jay is going to assign you a mentor. But before there, where you meet with your mentor, you probably explore this on your own, okay? These are the reading portions that Jay told you. They are not difficult. They're actually, these ones are like a few pages long, okay? So instead of watching Netflix or your whatever, Game of Thrones, whatever, go and read this, okay? It will help you to learn a little bit more about customer discovery. There are a few videos over here from Steve Blank. He was the creator of this program. And then Jay in a minute will tell you a little bit about this one, worksheet number 1. Okay, let's go back to these documents and files. And listen a little bit of the comment from Steve and the question from Daniel. Here where it says like, what do I do in preparation for my customer discovery interviews? Here you have several resources. The first resource that you have is an email template. So if you don't know what to do, and then you're like, you don't know what to ask people or the introduction, that is your sample. Here, keep track who you are interviewing and also who you want to interview in the future. Remember, the goal is that you complete 20 customer discovery interviews. Okay, so throughout the days, you're gonna see that I'm gonna start populating more information in here. For example, this one where it says templates. Right now it's empty, but right there, I'm going to put templates for every single week. So that way you can and just put your own words and put your pictures and things like that. So you don't have to start from scratch. Okay, I'll pass it back to
Thank you, Francis. And so that concludes the formal presentation portion of our orientation. So we don't have worksheet number 1 set up right now, I don't think. But let me do some informal questioning here. Number 1, how many of the participants feel comfortable that they'll be able to access Basecamp to read and watch the assignments that are due for next week. Do one of these, what do you call them? Reactions. Okay. So let's lower our hands and ask the opposite. How many people would like us to discuss that in more detail, or to feel comfortable they can access in Basecamp what they need for next week? Ashish, are you in need of help, or you just haven't lowered your hand from the first time? Okay, you lowered it. Okay.
Hey Jay, sorry, I do have a question about Basecamp, if I may.
Yes, you may.
Please. So I was just checking. I did receive two different emails from Francisca to join Basecamp, and I tried a couple of times to open that link. So I guess it's not only a question to you, Jay, but maybe to the rest of the participants. Was everyone else able to use that link? Because I keep getting an error saying you already have an account with this email. I'm using my UCR email. And when I do the opposite, which is not have the system automatically put my password, but rather me doing it manually, I get the other error saying we do not recognize this password. So I did get the email, but I'm unable to actually make it through that.
Okay, so I have several solutions. Okay, let's go over this. Okay, let's go from the basics. Okay, even if for some reason you think receive an invitation and now you're like, oh, I don't know, I have 28 emails and I cannot find. Okay, so the first thing is like just go on to the Google or whatever internet engine that you use and type basecamp.com. Okay, so that will be probably from the basics. Okay, and then my other suggestion is like as soon as you go through that, try to log in. Okay. Okay, so let's
Right there where it
can
says
you just
sign
see my
in. Right there.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says sign in, right? So right there, well, in my case, let me log out because I think, okay, so there is where you are, okay? I think this is might be the challenge for many of you, Jorge. Okay, so let's say this right there, right? So in my case, I use this email address, okay? So it was gonna ask me, okay, is this the email address that I use? Please remember, I use the email address that you put in your application, okay? I when you apply for the INNOVAR program, I use that email address, okay? I didn't use any alternative email address. So and then you just put your password, okay? And then it will give you there. Now, what happens if it doesn't recognize your password or your thing? You can also go and say, sign me up with Google. So in my case, it's like, okay, we found you, and keep continue and all that. But this is where you see our thing is where it causes a lot of problems, because sometimes the university has different guidelines on how to do this. And oh, sorry, I stopped using this. But it sometimes it's just quite it's actually a very interesting thing. One thing that we can do immediately to solve the problem is that you send me another email address, or I'll send you a different invitation, okay, from scratch, okay. So my suggestion first, try it again, see if it allows you to do it immediately through using that route for Google, or if not, try sending me a different email address. Okay.
I think I'm in. Thank you very much, Francisca. I'm in, and the way that I did it for all the folks.
Oh, you see, you got it. Yeah. Sometimes it is kind of finicky, and particularly when you see our email addresses.
Yeah, it just there was an additional option there saying reset my password, and so I got an email, and then I used that new link, and I did the whole process again, and now I'm in. Thank you.
Yes, fantastic. Sandra, no, please remember, now you only in beta can only see the generic one, like all of us are in the class, right? We're gonna create another one specifically for your team, okay? And in there, we're gonna add you, your team, and also your mentor. Do you want to
Sujay?
add something else?
Yeah, I have a question. So I remember when we did our little interview before I got into this, we spoke about how my partner technically has class right now. And for that reason, you said that I basically have to take on the presentation efforts, but if possible for his enrollment, what exactly should he do? Should he just like work alongside me for the interviewing and all that?
He can do interviewing, he can do mentor meetings, you schedule mentor meetings when he is available or she's available, and can also help with the slide preparation. And Francis, I believe we're going to record a lot of these classes, so, right?
Everything is recorded today, so so invite your teammate to go and revisit in Basecamp where you can see the videos. That is your job, okay? Go and tell your teammate, they're like, okay, you need to go and review the recordings, okay?
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah, that works. And on top of that, I also spoke about the possibility of adding some other friends of mine who don't work at UCR or who don't go to UCR as team members. And I was wondering if you you're okay if I add them also through Basecamp.
That's two questions in one. And so, number one is you can have non-UCR people join your team. I recommend it not be too many because we want to keep it organized. And secondly, um, yeah, Basecamp is a good thing for teams. You would have to and this goes for all teams. If you're adding a member, um, you can add them to your team. I think you can also add them to the main entrepreneurship program, but you want to add them to both. And so if you forget to do one, they're going to be half out of it. So if you can't add them to either or both teams, just reach out to me and we'll see if we can get them lined up. So yeah, the more the merrier, as far as I'm concerned, because this is not a closed class.
So on that note, Sujay, if you don't mind, send me also their information because at the end of the program, we give them certificates of completion. And you want your friends to get one as well, right? So you need to send me that information as well.
All
So
right, thank you.
So a
okay.
question that wasn't, oh, I'm sorry, Francis, you've got more to go over on this?
No, it's okay because I just a note in the chat I put I downloaded the worksheet number 1 so you can start keeping an eye on it. And as I say, I just need to add you to Basecamp if for the ones that I haven't added just yet. And try the strategy that Jorge and I tried just right now, right? Let's make sure that
Francis,
you
can you open up worksheet number one?
sure 1 second.
So this is everyone's main assignment. If we can open it up, that would be great.
Yes, give me just 1 second.
And then I'm
It
going
is
to ask, yes, that's okay. Take your
oh,
time.
it's okay. So, and I guess this is the perfect time to guide you to do this. It is actually quite simple, but let's go on. For some reason doesn't want to open it. Give me just 1 sec. Oh, there it is. Okay, so this is the one in Basecamp. You will have to hit download, okay? But that is the reason why I put it as an attachment in the chat. These, go for it, Jake, so you can explain it and just tell me to hit next.
Next. So this is worksheet number one, and it has all the points that we have another example, I think, but um, you actually fill out these things. It's paint by numbers, so to speak. What are you doing? So you've already put that in your application, most of you. And so you can keep it the same. This is one of the few times we're asking, you know, what do you do? It's about your technology. Next slide. And then the second part is who do you do it for? That's your customer. And the thing is, we don't want you to say you do it for big tech or high tech or hospitals. You want it to be the specific role or person if it's a company, or it could be the type of person if it's an individual. So you wouldn't say everybody. You would say, you know, uh, recently, recent mothers who've given birth, if you had something for babies or something. Okay. So it's a person with a role. That's the customer. Who is your customer? And you might say everybody, and we're going to say that's not right. We want to be as specific as possible because you don't have time to get to everybody. Next slide. And then this is really what do you do? That's your value proposition. What do you do? Or how does your idea work? And the same at the same time, you know, why would anyone care what it does? And so uh, you have to figure out what your technology is and why should someone care. And usually it's because it saves time or it saves money or it's more accurate or it's quicker, it's easier, less expensive, more, you know, could be more fun, whatever it is. And then when you come up with that answer for your tech, we try to have you come up with a way of, what's the word? Putting a numeric value on it, quantifying the value. So it's not just we're better, but we're cheaper by 10% or more efficient by 50% or whatever it is. So that the putting yourself in the eyes of the customer, you could say, well, is this worth making a change to be 1% less expensive? No. 50% less expensive? Yes. Okay, next slide, please. And we also said there to put that in the point of view of the customer. So the value proposition is why do they like you, not why do you think they like you, if you understand the difference. And then you're going to be hypothesizing why someone would be interested in your product. Okay, next slide, please. And oftentimes you want to use an if-then sentence, or we believe they will do this for the following reason. Next slide, please. And then you write it down. And then you're going to start doing interviews. And so here are some actual questions you could use, but really you'll want to have some specific ones for your technology as well. And this example happens to be for a fuel energy company. So not going to be such great examples for you, since I don't think any of you were fuel companies. Next question, next slide, please. And so then you write these things down. And you see here a tip, ask open-ended versus yes/no questions. That's kind of an obvious one to me, but maybe not for everyone. And try to have questions set up that will help you with your hypothesis. So if you ask simple questions, you might get great answers, but they might not move you one step forward as to whether your business thesis is viable. Next slide, please. And we're getting near the end. So this is an example of a business thesis. Next slide, please. Here's how you create that slide. It seemed like a really nice slide. You just answer these three questions in one phrase or a couple of sentences. And that's your business thesis. You might also say who you are. Go ahead, go back to that slide for a second. So I want people here to imagine, can you answer this question right now? Could you say what it is you do? Who are you? What it is you do? And who do you do it for? Because that's 2/3 of the business thesis. And then the flip side is does anybody care? You care, but again, we're not talking about you because you're self-interested. What's in it for your customer? Why should they care? Why should they pick you? And that's only 1/3 of the questioning, but it's the most difficult one to answer. So that's your business thesis. And you need one for next week, and then every week thereafter, you can either keep it or revise it based on what people are telling you. So any questions about the business thesis? If not, let's move to the next slide because I think we're just about done. Next. So this is, you'll have this in Basecamp. It's a, just list who you want to contact. How are you going to find these people? The internet, LinkedIn, Reddit.
That's
Next,
it.
next slide.
That's it.
That's it. Okay. So thank you very much for going through that, Francis. That was extremely useful for people to see. How many people here feel comfortable that they might be able to come up with a business thesis by next week? Two of you. Not very many. Okay, there's 3 or 4 of you. How many of you are so scared away that you're never going to come back and never develop a business thesis? Raise your hand. I'm going to lower my hand now. Janice, are you going to give up? Or is it just, it's just a long yes?
Just a long yes.
Okay. I'm looking on page 2 here. Okay. All right. So, and we're here to help you every step of the way. We do good shepherding, good mentoring, and but this is as tough as it gets, is setting the stage for what you're going to do. Because if you ask the wrong questions, guess what? You get the wrong answers. But this is the experiment. This is the lab, and you hypothesize. Could be as simple as, if we make it, they're going to buy it. But I'd like it to be a little more complex, such as, it depends based on how much better your product is, or how deep the problem is, or how much accurate you are. What is moving the needle for your customer? And so if you ask, who would buy my ice cream? Or everyone will buy my ice cream because it tastes good. Sounds pretty non-controversial, right? So I'm going to sell ice cream, and then I sell Moses my ice cream, and I tell him that'll be $50,000. What's Moses going to do? He's definitely going to run away. He's not going to buy too much. Probably not going to even pay for the first cup. So you have to have, it's all got a matter of degree as to what's going to be useful or not. So everything is great hypothetically, but in reality, it's not. Krista and then Francis?
Yeah, Jay and team mentors, do you have any tips on how we're going to develop that quantification of how we're adding value? I increase engagement by 10% when you use my product, kind of thing.
I would work with your mentor on that. And so specifically, I wouldn't want to venture a guess other than figuring out what is important to the customer. And so what is their motivation for using your product or service in the first place? And so if you're an athlete, getting 1% increase in performance might be something that takes you from average to superstar, but a 1% improvement in energy efficiency might, it might be worthwhile if you're a power plant, but it might not be worthwhile if you're a homeowner, depending on how much your product costs.
I think that's one of the things you get it through the interviewing process. When you figure out what somebody's pain is, what their problem is, then you ask them, how much does it cost you? how much do you budget for this? If you've got to do if customers got to do remediation, some kind of a corrective measure to deal with a problem, just ask them how much you spend a year on that. And finding information out like that is what helps you then dimensionalize the problem. And then you might say, if you had a solution that can improve this by cutting it in half, or what level of improvement matters to the customer, and then they're the only ones who can really tell you what's value mean to you. That's something the customer has to answer for you, and you get at that through the interviewing process.
I believe also, Krista, that you would start that off by hypothesizing. Say, for example, you're working on a technology that lowers costs by a certain amount, increases fuel efficiency, for example, by a certain percentage. You kick it off with a hypothesis first, and then as you conduct your interviews, you may be asking them, if you were able to lower the costs by, I don't know, say 5 or 10%, would that motivate you to change from what you're doing right now? Or if we were to improve your fuel efficiency by a certain range, would that change your buying behavior in any way? And so sooner or later, you'll just start refining that. You'll be learning more in terms of what actually is impactful and motivational, influential to them. But you'll start it off with a hypothesis.
Francis?
No, it's just, if you don't mind answering Brian's question. He asked, where do we put the worksheet when it is completed?
In your Basecamp folder, there should be a place to you just drop it in the main folder for there. There's also a place to put in assignments. So for next week, you've got 3 things. The one is to complete worksheet number 1, and number 2 is to meet with your mentor. And number 3, you all have a speaking role in class, but it's going to be very easy, except it's going to be for all of you. So we need to keep it quick, which is to introduce yourselves. And so use the 2 or 3 word description of what you do. Use the 1 sentence version of who you are and your teammates who are there in person. If you're not there in person, you can definitely listen in. If you're not there in person, you may not have a speaking role. We are not sure exactly how the Alumni and Visitor Center technology is going to work, and we have experienced it before where it didn't work. It was one-way communication. You could hear us, we couldn't hear you. We'll do our best, and maybe they've improved it. But part of being in our offices, we're not part of a college or school, so we're nomads in terms of space. We're at the mercy of everybody else. So that's your things, is to meet your mentor, do worksheet number 1, watch and read, and be prepared to speak for a second, get the nerves out of your system so you get to speak to the group. And it's going to be live. I don't know if it's pizza or sandwiches or Chinese or whatever, but we will provide food and drink. And we would love to see all of you there in person. And then from that point on, it moves to Zoom until the end of November. So that concludes the remarks that we need to say, but I want to make sure that we don't lose anyone because they're not comfortable with the roles that they're going to have to play or the work they're going to have to do. I guess it's better to drop out sooner than later if you're going to do it, because we've got a lot of people who would like to do it that we didn't let in. But I feel like we made no errors in accepting teams. We were happy with the ones we've invited. So I'm happy to stick around and answer any questions that people have. But I would say the class is officially over. And if you want to, you can say goodbye, say your blessings, Jorge.
Thank you so much.
With
Bye.
your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.